nerds, and welcome back. We are crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you another episode. My name is Travis. I am the undisputed heavyweight champion of this podcast, and I am joined, as always, by my fantastic co-hosts, Eric, Ryan, and James. This week, we're going to be talking about tops and flops. We're going to be talking about all our favorite things from 2024 and all of our least favorite things. So we hope you all had a happy holiday. We hope you enjoyed the extra time with family, and we are excited to be seeing you guys again. James, how was your holiday, brother?
It's great. I was, in China for all of November and part of December, and then I came back.
Oh yeah,
Did a little bit traveling down to see my parents for Christmas and New Year's. Went and saw Ryan for a little bit. That was a good time.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so
Now
it's pretty nice.
you guys are going to be celebrating New Year's soon, right? Because the Chinese New Year
Chinese
I know
New
is
Year,
after.
yeah, it's in like 2 weeks.
Nice. And that's going to be, what are we going into? Year of the Snake?
That's correct.
Yes.
On top of things.
Yeah, man, I'm all over it. What about you, Ryan? How was your holiday?
Oh, I had a pretty good holiday, man. It was fairly low key. I kept, friends and family. Got to hang out with Bones for a little bit. That was great. Had a real good celebration here at the house. In fact, the only thing that kind of went wrong, so to speak, the only nitpick I have is we didn't get our snow until after Christmas. So now I'm sitting here all snowed in January. But no, it was a really good break. I did have a good time. It was a little bit rough because, we didn't have the show going, but got to spend some time with family, which was much needed. So very excited about that. I did want to touch on the fact that I know we had a few comments about the ending of the Too Legit to Crit crossover. That is still coming. And so fans of that series that we're doing with Too Legit, don't worry, it is still coming. It's just didn't get there by Christmas.
All right, Eric. What'd you do over the holidays?
I didn't do too much.
Well,
I did get to watch
do in Canada.
I did get to watch my kids snowboard. That was rather neat.
Oh, nice.
Got them an instructor. It's nothing cooler than seeing a little 7-year-old chopping snow with her snowboard trying to get up a mountain.
Yeah, there you go.
Shredding.
Yeah, no, she did really well. Both of them did.
Nice.
And then the oldest got to do a tournament. Her coach got their team into a tournament that wasn't planned. It was pretty cool to see. There's some wild talent in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Just going to throw that out there. Their C team was buzzing. The girls played well, though. They learned a lot. It was a good experience for them. But those were probably the biggest things from the holidays. Like, obviously, Christmas is cool, opening gifts, seeing family and shit. The snowboarding and then the tournament were probably the kickers.
Excellent.
What about you, Travis? Would you?
Oh, man,
other than the cool belt,
yeah, I was like, you're looking at one of my favorite Christmas presents I got this year is my undisputed title belt. I do have an LA Night one on the way, which is going to be super fun. But yeah, Christmas was very low key. My wife and baby were in Washington, so I just got to kind of chill around the house, enjoyed some quiet, did a lot of video gaming, a lot of book reading, because the time was available. New Year's was fun. I spent it with friends and family, and then actually my sister came in December to go to The Undertaker's one-man show, which I will highly recommend to everyone if anyone has a chance to go see it. It's super dope. I thought it was going to be a little campy and corny. I was just honestly going to see, but it turns out it's a really good kind of like sit-down style one-man show with Mark Calloway, and it's, like I said, it was a blast. My sister and I both really enjoyed it, so if you guys have an opportunity to check it out, definitely should.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be with him. He was always really good.
Yeah, and
I couldn't see anything being wrong with him.
Yeah, and then the 20th of this month, the other part of my Christmas gift that goes along with my title belt, I will be attending a live taping of WWE Raw. So keep an eye out for me. I may be on Netflix. So
excellent.
All right, who wants to lead off with our?
Well, first, I want to actually say something, just so y'all are aware. It's
Ready.
nerd news. This just came out. The Fallout show production has been postponed due to the fires in California.
Oh no!
That makes sense.
Yeah, we definitely have to give a shout out and hope everyone is safe and.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on out there, and like there's a show that we are slowly. I'm trying to get in touch with in regards to like doing something with at some point, Combat Radio. I'm always interacting with them on Instagram, and they're out there. They're posting stuff about it. So yeah, definitely take care, and be safe with all the weather going on out there.
Yeah, things have gotten so crazy out on that coast. I want to take the opportunity as well, send my love that way. I wish there was more I could do. So everybody stay safe. I know I got several personal friends that are out in LA right now, and their descriptions of the event has been just shocking. And that's coming from somebody I just recently had the big fire in my hometown as well, and to hear it
Yeah.
going on in LA is terrifying to me. So
There's
yes,
there's several going on. So yeah,
All California's just on fire right now, basically.
yeah, Southern California is definitely just ablaze. So I understand why production has come to a halt.
yeah,
Not to make too much light of the situation, but it may give them some fun outside filming locations after the fire, just to get in that post-apocalyptic mindset. I feel like,
You're not wrong.
you know, there might be a little silver lining to the tragedy.
Whew. Anyway, so
I'm
yeah,
just saying, if you're looking for apocalyptic, after a fire is pretty apocalyptic looking.
that is a fact. So yeah, like Travis said, guys, we're gonna be doing tops and flops. I think in this particular regard, we're gonna be kind of skating through it. We got a lot of ground to cover because we're covering a whole year's worth of content. So let's go ahead and start where most of our gamer base comes from. Let's start with video games.
Ooh, do we want to start with flops or do we want to start with our
Yeah,
our
we got
favorites?
to do flops first. You got to
Flops
go
first?
bad to
First?
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to end in a bad note, right? Like that just.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, hit us with the flop.
Okay, so when it comes to video games, we actually had a lot of really, really good content. I struggled with this one, right? Because my brain set was very much on the stuff that I'd found and I was enjoying. I guess I'm going to start off with a hot take because I know not all of you guys are going to agree with me. I know not a lot of the fan base is going to agree with me. My biggest video game oriented flop this year actually came from the Game of the Year awards. I am not part of the group that supports Astrobot winning Game of the Year. I am not part of the group that liked having a DLC in competition for the Game of the Year. And while Astrobot is a fantastic game, I have nothing against that game. It's perfectly fine. I have some serious reservations about it winning Game of the Year. And so I think that's where I'm going to start with my flop, is I think that was a major video game flop to have that game kind of take the point.
Anyone with a rebuttal? Anyone want to have a counter argument?
Don't disagree.
Kind of the same boat. So
I know a lot
I
of
was gonna-
content creators have kind of covered this, right? A lot of my opinions are the same as most of theirs. I think Astrobot's a fine game by itself. I don't think it brought anything new, innovative, or eye-opening to the space.
The only counter I have to that is it was we'll see an indie studio win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been a huge proponent for indie studios for the entirety of the show, which we passed our 2-year anniversary. So that's
did.
kind of exciting.
Yeah.
But and Astrobot's great. I love seeing some indie studios getting some love. I will support that all day. It surprised me at first that when I was watching it, that this game I had personally never heard of or had anything come out of the pipe for one. So I started looking into it like, hey, I gotta support this game. And it's fine. But I don't think it was Game of the Year status.
World's okayest game of the year.
Yeah. World's okayest game of the year.
That just goes to show that maybe there wasn't anything that great that came out this year. But
Well,
we'll get
and I
to
have
that, of course.
I have a few that I really liked.
But that's next. You
Yeah,
hold your
that's
horses.
next.
Hold your horses,
Yeah,
Ryan.
Don't skip ahead. Don't skip ahead.
All right, Travis. What do you got for
Oh man, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Huge flop. That game, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty excited for, given the premise, what the storyline was supposed to be. It came out again. James and I have the same theory on pre-ordering anything. I give it a month. If it's not better or at full working status after a month, it's not on my buy list. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of post ordering at these days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep, facts.
I'm not, unless I've seen a very, very successful beta, I'm not pre-ordering a game. And I mean, it's got to be a good beta at this point before I'll hop in. So yeah, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League was just a huge flop for me, just a real letdown, especially how great that story could have been. The plot for it would have been amazing. It's one of the best comic book arcs that DC has done as far as the Suicide Squad goes, in my opinion. I feel like it had everything there to make a really stellar game, and then just fell super flat. So yeah, that's going to be my biggest video game flop, and I'm following that up very closely with Star Wars Outlaws in a neck and neck race for the bottom, in my opinion.
Oh, you didn't like Outlaws, huh?
Nope.
Rough. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm going to have a counter argument because I know I already saw Eric shaking his head at me on that one. Bones, what do you got for flop?
I got two. One is like personal. Probably not that many people I feel like play these games anyway. Sensuous Saga. So the first one was Sensuous Sacrifice was really good and like pretty great in its use like visuals, like kind of groundbreaking in its use of visuals and sound design. So it's a great game. And then 2 came out this year, and it was like $50 for a 7-hour game. It was like nothing new.
Yeah. Hellblade
That's
2.
bad. That is very bad.
Hellblade
And
2
then-
was fine for what it had, but for a $50 price tag.
Yeah. And the other one that you can't talk about flops and not talk about Concord.
Yeah, I knew somebody was gonna have
That's
that
gotta
one.
fuck
The
of
most
the decade.
disastrous 2 weeks that a video game has ever experienced.
Yeah, man, that's bad.
Yeah, I think I picked mine. I think I was a little personal in my picks and not as practical as Bones was in that one because, yeah, Concord was a huge nosedive.
I mean, I
I
didn't
think
even play it. So I mean, maybe it was good. I don't know. I would assume not, since nobody played it.
Yeah,
Because after 2 weeks, this shut it down.
Yeah.
Concord blew my mind because I mean, the idea of that one was exciting. I thought it looked cool, but now we just have kind of another Anthem on our hands. Actually, Anthem did a lot better than Concord did. So
No
I
game has
honestly
done as
didn't
bad
even
as
know.
Concord.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Concord had been released until they announced that it was being shut down. That's how bad
I mean,
the marketing
honestly,
was for
I
Concord.
think that it was doomed to begin with because it was
yeah,
being, first of all, it's a not free to play game in a space of free to play games of the exact same type, right? Like every game
Oh,
that was
yeah.
Concord was mimicking, and it wasn't doing anything new, is free to play. And they were like, "Hey, you got to buy ours."
Yeah, spend $60.
Yeah. Well, it's they tried to do the same thing that World of Warcraft has been doing, right? Where you have to pay your subscription fee and keep buying all of our games, and you ain't gonna get away with that right now.
No. All right, Eric, what do you got for flops?
I mean, everybody's kind of taking some of mine. I don't know, Skull and Bones. Let's go with that one.
Ooh, okay, the Skull and Bones
Wasn't that a
Discord.
2023 release?
Nope, it was
Or
this
was
year.
that 24?
That was
That's
this year.
2024. Yeah, so
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Only
here's the
because
thing.
you're a ship. I don't know why you'd want to be a
Yeah, well-
fucking ship. I want to be
Well,
a
so
pirate.
here's my counter argument to that, and it's only kind of relevant, right? I don't mind it being about the ship. In fact, I play plenty of games that are exactly like that. One of my favorite games of all time is Elite Dangerous. For the vast majority of that game's life, you could only be your ship. You couldn't
Yeah, but
get
you
up
have a
and walk
spaceship, so
around
it's
your
already
ship.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
And
got
it's also
cool
mechanically
guns,
sound.
lasers, and
So the mechanics of the game beyond, oh, you have to be the ship. I don't mind my character being a crew, if that makes sense.
I don't have
But
an issue with that either.
the way they set up the mechanics is just a troll's paradise, as it turns out, which is a shame because they were setting out to not have that. And then you
dude,
combine
10
that
years or something.
with, yeah,
They had longer
And
than
so-
that. Wasn't it
I-
like 13?
I
Goddamn.
I do think that the whole being a ship thing is actually a pretty negative thing in this context. And I make a joke about being like Elite Dangerous being a spaceship, so it's like better. But it like is. You have 3-dimensional movement. You're spanning infinite space. You're a ship on some water. You have a limited spot where you can go.
yeah, not even a lot of it. Like, let's be
Yeah.
honest here.
You also have very limited customization options as far as like what you want your ship to do. Because like obviously you're a pirate, so you're gonna have to be armed at some point. Elite Dangerous gives you the benefit of being a
be a
mining
freighter,
ship, an
man.
exploring ship, a science vessel, a passenger liner. Like you can literally become a yacht,
done
combat
those
ship,
missions. They're
bounty hunting, pirate. And it gives you mechanics to do all of those things. And then Skull and Bones came out, and it was like you can design your own ship, sort of customize your
Sorta.
pirate that you never see, sort of.
If Elite Dangerous would just bring out a mode like Starfield where I could steal someone's ship, I wouldn't go to work anymore.
Why would you
would-
steal someone's ship when you can just take out their power source and then leave them drifting through space so they can either wait the like 6 in-game hours for all of their systems to fail or scuttle it and not get to use their insurance buy? Says probably the only troll of Elite Dangerous in this podcast.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah,
But, like,
you
I-
could
I-
be
for real, though.
you
Yeah.
jerk in Elite Dangerously. You be
I
a
will
I want to
admit
just
to you-
be able to
jerk.
steal your ship. I just want to steal your ship. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all I want.
I will admit to you that when it comes to games like Elite Dangerous had one key detail that I think might have saved or might have been a good implementation for nearly any game of its ilk, and that's where you can turn off playing with the open community. Because I say it's one of my favorite games. It is. I love that game. There's so much content to explore, and I refuse to play on any server with other people in.
Same
But
Z's.
to rein it back in now, we've covered some flops. Let's go back around. Ryan, you want to give us your 2024? What is your 2024 game of the year?
My personal 2024 game of the year is Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Knew it. I knew it.
Absolutely love
That's
that game.
everybody's.
I think the game is great. I think the single player campaign was great. I think the multiplayer is great. Visuals are unbelievable in scope. Sound design is the best I've had in nearly any game ever. And it had a tertiary benefit. And the tertiary benefit is it's a game about one of my special interests that I hold very, very dear that now has the entire geek community talking about Warhammer and let us talk about Warhammer on the show. Absolute my gold star of 2024.
I have to add, it has some of the best background conversations
Yeah, they're
Yes,
great.
it
in any
does.
recent video game. Just meandering around the battle barge and listening to people interact with one another is
Now, saying that, I do want to give an honorable mention in the fact that you don't see a lot of games nowadays that adopt that methodology, right? We've seen it in a handful of other games. I'm not going to say them by name in case it's anybody else's gold star, but I love the gameplay loop in Space Marine 2. I think it's very replayable. I haven't gotten tired of it yet. Chef's kiss.
yeah, it's the right amount of grindy for those of you that have not played it yet. When you're playing the PvE, it has that right balance of it where it's progressive. You play on certain levels, you up the difficulty, you play, and then you up the difficulty, you play, you collect resources. But it's not so bad to where you're doing the same thing 10,000 times. I'm not going to name any studios specifically, but they made Destiny 2. Has made the grind a real struggle.
That's actually my only complaint about Space Marines is as you level up and you do harder things, the enemies just get harder.
Yeah,
Like they just get more health,
it's
essentially,
hard to
and they hit
feel like
harder.
you've actually progressed
Yeah.
sometimes. Not always, but sometimes.
All right, let's.
Go ahead, James.
So okay, I have two games. One is throwback to January, Pal World. I fucking love that game
Pal
still.
World.
I think it is great. They just did a big update and they're still going despite all the legal issues.
Yep. And the crazy eye-opening legal issues.
Whew.
Yeah, fuck Nintendo. I mean,
Yeah,
fuck Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo real
excuse me.
mad.
It's just him.
And the one game that I haven't even beat yet, but I've been enjoying playing is Black Myth.
Black Myth Wukong.
I've heard
Absolutely.
nothing but good things about Black Myth Wukong, actually.
I was actually fully expecting Black Myth Wukong to take Game of the Year. That was the most shocking thing to come out of that. And so, yeah.
Wasn't Rise of the Erd Tree?
Yeah,
wasn't
the
that the
DLC
DLC that came out?
for,
that was this year.
For Elden Ring.
Yeah, that was also a very good release. Almost a complete game in and of itself as a DLC, but definitely very good, definitely well done.
Yeah, I will absolutely admit to that. Again, it's weird to have DLCs starting to get so much attention like they are now, even appearing again in the Game of the Year and that kind of stuff. But Rise of the Erd Tree was extensive, it was well made, it had modding support, and it had a lot of content. And so, okay.
All right, who's next?
I'll go ahead and go because Eric and I are going to have an argument about his top.
No, I didn't say it was my top. But
I'm going with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Solid game.
Came out free on Game Pass if you have Game Pass. Just a well-done, complete game. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary or groundbreaking by any means, but the story's good. It feels like it gives you that classic Indiana Jones movie feeling. Like when you're watching Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Last Crusade. It feels frantic even in the situations where you're like sat down and just kind of progressing the plot. It has a ton of exploration value. There's all kinds of little like knickknacks to find, like little secondary and tertiary artifacts that don't necessarily progress the main story but are still collectible. They're still fun. And I have to give it up to the main antagonist in that game is amazing. You just get that real like greasy, sleazy vibe off the guy, and it's so easy to just hate that character. And you don't see that a ton in video games where you're just like, like this, I just want to hit this scumbag in the face. As soon as he opens his mouth, you're just like, no, I hate that guy. So the voice acting in that, very good. Again, background conversations happen all over the place in that game, so it feels full. You can even stumble upon like little tertiary side quests for people where they're like, I don't remember where I set down this and this. And you can just go pick one up and go bring it to them. They're just like, I can't find my paintbrush. And you just go pick up a paintbrush and then take it back to them. And you get like bonus XP.
Yeah, I will also say that the crunchiness of the game, the mechanics of that game were so smooth and so easy to learn. And they really did capture that kind of feel of the original Indiana Jones movies where it's almost campy, but it's not. And I loved the mechanics of the game.
Perfect balance of like the one-liners from Indy and company. So yeah, that's definitely my top. Really surprising because I thought it was going to be a mediocre game at best, and I have just absolutely loved every minute of playing it. And of course, Space Marine 2 is also really good. I really enjoyed that game.
Right.
But
so everybody missed the big one. It's Helldivers.
So that was my honorable mention that I was like, I'm not going to bring it up in case. Helldivers 2, baby.
I like Space Marines. I think it's great. It's got a lot of customization and the story and everything like that. But I love the way the map and stuff works with Helldivers 2, the way they're changing it. They're making it so it's never quite the same, and it's very fucking challenging. It's really wild, and all the things they do is just nice. I would like to see... Eventually, that'd be cool if they did a mode like that with Space Marines, like if they did an MMORPG, where like they could do like people controlling different things. Anyways, not going to get into all that. Helldivers 2, best game. Game Travis is talking about is Star Wars. I don't think it was Outlaws. I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. The woke shit, all this, I don't think it's all that bad. I think...
the problem has nothing to do with the woke.
The problem... What's that? The problem... The only thing is with Outlaws, if you don't like stealthy games, it's horrible because it's a stealth game that isn't
stealthy.
The mechanics are semi-broken, yes. But when you go to play it, like they just released another game. What was it? Survivor? Was it Survivor that came out? Star Wars, the Jedi one?
Oh, Jedi Survivor? Jedi came out.
I believe that was the last one out before.
I don't remember. Anyways, and it looked very eerily similar. Like, when I was playing it, I really thought of that, and this felt like kind of the Wish version of that. But I definitely think it was a lot better than people made it out to be. I bought the game on sale because it was dirt cheap. It really was a lot better than I was expecting. The map isn't as small. Everyone's like, you can get across the map in like 2 minutes. No, you can't. The maps are decent. But it's nothing to brag about. It's by no means a top game, but it's definitely not shit.
Sorry, I would disagree with you on that one. It's a bad game. It's got a shooting mechanic that has you feel like shooting is totally irrelevant. So if you get caught, you're automatically at a huge disadvantage, which is fine for a stealth game if the stealth mechanics worked. But the stealth mechanics don't even work right. And this is coming from Ubisoft that makes the Assassin's Creed series that has a stealth mechanic with a semi-balanced combat mechanic to go with it. You're telling me that studio that has made so many successful Assassin's Creed games can't do an exploration stealth combat game and make it balanced and fun to play?
I think it was quite that. Like, the stealth could be but I don't know. I didn't think the stealth was that bad off. I thought it was okay. Like, you had to be semi-proficient to do it. But, like, I don't know. Maybe you just should practice. But we should go to the next one.
It's a skill issue.
We've already been on
Eric's
video
good,
dude.
I mean, it's like
I don't know.
We do one of the lowest rated games of 2024, and you're telling me it's a skill issue.
We do need to move on.
I like that.
However, I do think it is worth noting that the game started off same as every other Star Wars game, climbing uphill for the reason Travis exactly said. It's coming from the Assassin's Creed development peeps. Everybody joked before the game came out that it was just going to be Assassin's Creed with lightsabers. They tried to not make it that, and it backfired. I think it's the same as Jedi Survivor caught flack for being a Dark Souls ripoff, even though it's really not. And
it's
so
literally a Souls-like. I mean,
that's
not a ripoff of a game. It is literally in the genre that is defined by the Dark Souls.
It's the Souls-like combat system.
Yeah,
but I will say,
which is not my favorite, but it's still a very good game. Yeah,
like if anybody says it's a ripoff, like no, it's a Souls-like, and it's still a good game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an amazing game. But
all right,
Movies.
Movies time.
Movies/anime, because we can't fucking go into both separate because we don't got that kind of time.
All right.
There's
The
so
anime I've
many
been watching
topics.
this year
Hurting my feelings,
hasn't
then.
been from 2024, so I'm not going to be able to
flops
weigh in.
first. So
Flops first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Eric, why don't you lead us off with your flop for movies and/or anime?
Fuck. Don't start
Oh, I
with
put
me.
you on the spot.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
Ryan, sorry, I meant Ryan. I said
Okay.
Ryan.
I'm going to start with Madam Web. That's kind of my 2024 flop. I know a lot of other stuff caught a lot of flack this year. A lot of it, in my opinion, is very undeserved. I'm going to defend Rebel Moon until I die. But Madam Web was just bad.
I don't think Rebel Moon got that bad of a rap. It just, most people said it was generic.
Yeah.
That was my thoughts on Rebel Moon. I was like, this is okay.
I think Madam Web really wanted to be something that it's not. I think that they wanted to try to cash in on geek hype and make it a comic book movie that had nothing to do with comic books in it, and I think they really just missed the mark on everything.
The dialogue was uncomfortable in some situations.
And cringy. And when you make something cringy to me, it's going to kill it.
And
I
the
can't stand cringy
fucking,
movies.
not to mention weird and cringy, and the mixing was off. It was like watching a kung fu flick.
And so my 2024 flop is going to be Madam Web.
That's definitely a flop. I'm gonna give you that one. James, what do you got?
You know, I don't think just Madam Web. I think in general all of the Sony DC or not Sony Sony Marvel movies. So they're just all terrible.
Craven the Hunter.
Liked Venom. I thought Venom was great.
Venom is okay. It is okay because it has Tom Hardy. That is literally it. That is the only thing that makes those good
Woody
movies.
Harrelson, who's
also
a fantastic actor.
I mean, he was good, but like I don't know, that wasn't a great. Like the first one was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't say it was really good. It was enjoyable. There's a difference between being good and enjoyable. But my biggest flaw for the year is for movies. I don't know about anime. I can't really think of an anime. Nope, I lied. The Junji Ito anime. The first episode was great, and then the remaining episodes, the animation is absolutely atrocious. Like it's the worst animation I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's hard.
That was a huge disappointment for me. Movie wise, Borderlands.
Yeah, that's definitely a flop. That movie was miscast. It was poorly written.
I was so ready. Like when I sat down to watch Borderlands, I'm a huge Borderlands fan. I've had a bad taste in my mouth because I still play on, kind of an older console. It struggles with Borderlands because they started using the particle physics to animate their fire. I've talked about that on the show before. I was so ready to
has a
go.
Stroke every time.
Yeah, I was going to go to the defense of the Borderlands movie because I thought everybody was being wildly unfair by nitpicking the cast and by talking about the age differences and man. And then I watched it, and it was just bad.
It was like, I wish I didn't watch it.
Terrible. And being a fan of the Borderlands franchise made it worse.
Yeah.
Like, Jack Black is the only redeemable quality in that movie. The visuals, I guess, weren't bad, but no, did not care for it.
Yeah, that definitely a huge flop. Eric, have you made up your mind on your flop?
Yes, I have.
Hit me.
It's directors. And blaming us for movies not succeeding.
Yeah.
That's the fucking flop of the year.
That was a theme this year, I feel like.
Madam Web.
Yeah, that was a theme.
Madam Web was a bad movie because they didn't pick one fucking comic storyline to go with. They wanted to bring in extra stupid shit. I thought the casting was great. I thought they were amazing actors and actresses in the movie, but the fucking writers and directors wanted to fucking change stories. Pick them. The comic's already fucking there. Stop changing the goddamn story. Take it and run with it. Stop blaming us because we don't like the bullshit you create. Like, holy fuck. That's the flop of 2024. Directors blaming us, or actors and actresses blaming us. Oh, we're not woke enough. Oh, we're not fucking this, that enough. Nope. You wrote a shitty story. That's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
Madam Web, awesome character. I loved watching her in the Spider-Man cartoon back in the day. That old-ass lady in, like, the spider web and the skin-tight suit, looking pretty good, by the way. Great story. They come out with some weird-ass jungle shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, and then with as stacked as that cast was, you can't say it was just because the acting was bad. Like, yeah,
No.
the writing and
Or like,
directing. And
or like,
that
look at
whole theme of just being like, well, it's the audience's fault. Like, no, dog. Like, we're the ones you're supposed to be making movies for.
oh yeah, and like on top of that, Acolyte was the same way. Acolyte I thought was an alright movie, a great cast, but like you try to do something outside of what the original story was. The reason Skeleton Crew does well so far is because it's an original idea. You can't fuck it up. That's the difference.
Yeah, if you're trying
They
to
have
God, I
so
hate
many.
directors.
adapt a character or adapt a story, it's already there. Like, why go off the rails with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing with Sony is the second flop they did, they don't
Craven.
incorporate characters together. Bring
Well,
them
they
together.
can't, because
Bring Spider-Man.
every time they have a.
Bring fucking Craven or whatever his name is into one of them. Bring Mobius. Like, bring the fucking character. Marvel did it. But anyways, yeah, let's go to the. Everyone did their flops, right? We'll go to the good stuff.
Oh, Travis.
No, I haven't done my flop yet.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, we
What's
got to
your
get
flop,
Travis's
dude?
flop.
Joker, Folie à Deux.
Oh,
Yeah.
That movie,
you mean the musical?
that was the most weird. I'm not going to say that was the most weird film I've ever sat through, because I've watched some weird movies. I regret paying money to go see it, because like that one part, my mom was like, well, the first one was so good. This has to get better. But it doesn't.
Nope.
The whole
Well-
film is just.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I thought Gaga was going to crush it. I was so excited with the first like trailers and the posters and the images and visuals. I was excited.
Yeah, that was the weirdest musical I've ever sat through.
Yeah.
Shout out to Night Swim for being the worst horror movie of the year too. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I
was
don't
a
watch
bad
horror
one.
movies, so I don't know.
And there
So
was
I
a
went
lot of
on
horror movies.
Went on a huge horror movie binge
There were
last
some
year for
good
the Halloween
ones that
season.
released in
some
2024.
great
There's
ones.
actually some
Yeah,
solid
there were some
2024 horror
great
movies.
ones.
Just
I think-
looking at like box office stats.
And I think A24 is doing a really good job on a lot of their stuff. Picking my flop movie was pretty easy because there was only one that I like really disliked. There were several that I disliked at least a little, but I want to be able to defend something.
Joker
And-
was so, but there was nothing to redeem about that
Yeah.
movie. It was like, ugh.
I mean, Joaquin
Oof,
Phoenix is
glad-
a good actor.
Yeah, not in that film.
I mean, you can only do so much with the writing.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with what you're given. So yeah, that was my
Whew.
flop. Moving on to tops. James, you want to go first?
Oh man, sure. Anime solo leveling. Said it before you, Travis.
Yep, you stole that one.
I was
I
going
was-
to say
I-
that one.
Like I said, like we were talking about it earlier. If Free Run had came out this year, that would be mine. I love that anime. I think it's one of the best ever made. But slightly into 2023, the end of 2023 instead of 2024. For movies, okay, I haven't seen it yet. But I'm really excited about watching Nosferatu. I've only heard really good things.
Yeah,
So I'm
I've
pretty
heard
sure
real good stuff.
we're gonna watch it actually probably this weekend or early next week maybe. I am excited. I assume that'll probably be one of my favorite movies of 2024. Movies that I've actually seen.
It's got Willem Dafoe in it. Can't be bad.
Can't go wrong with it. The Substance was like probably my favorite horror movie I've seen so far. That was really good. I feel like body horror.
Yeah, Substance was solid.
And this is under the radar for most. It is called Exuma. It is a Korean horror film, and it's all about like this weird like mythology around graves and spirits and like exorcising things. A really slow burn, but really, really good. Like really good. That is actually I think I like that more than I like The Substance just for me.
But we do have a
Joker criminally did a lot of things, mostly releasing that to the public.
Yeah,
Okay, so
unfortunately, yeah. It
I'll jump in
definitely
with my
should have done
tops.
better.
Yeah, what you got, Ryan?
So listen, movies was so hard for me this year. There was so many really, really good movies. And even in just horror, you're talking about things like The Watchers, blew my mind, absolutely loved it. I really, really think that
Bones is agreeing with you on The Watchers.
You do
I
you, boo.
loved The Watchers, but I also was a huge fan of like Lisa Frankenstein. And so I guess I'm going to give honorable mentions to a couple of those. Same with my top contested two. But my favorite, I'm going to call it a horror film, I guess, of the year was Watchers. My top two that I had a hard time deciding on was Alien Romulus, which I absolutely loved. It's one of only two movies that I've watched multiple times since it came out. But I'm going to give my top seat to Beetlejuice. I thought Beetlejuice was amazing. Absolutely loved it. I've watched it as many times as I could, and I have zero regrets. I think everything in that movie was about as good as it could be. So that's my gold star for movies. Was Beetlejuice.
All right, Eric, what's your top?
All right, so anime, I loved Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. You got to see a different side of the whole thing. You always saw it from like the Gundam's point of view. It was really cool to see how like the Gundam was slaughtering like just everything, and it was just so well done. I can't wait and pray that they're gonna do more with it. And I'm saying that because Solo Leveling was stolen from me. But to be totally honest with you, I would almost truly, I would almost put them on par with each other just because of the way Gundam was done and the way they did it and made the Gundam so scary and intimidating instead of remotely heroic. And then movies, there was a new movie, Henry Cavill on Prime, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh, I
did enjoy
forgot
that.
Such a
about the
good
Ministry.
movie.
That was
I
amazing.
absolutely
It's
loved
considered a
Henry
box
Cavill
office
in
flop,
there.
and I don't
Yeah.
know why, because it was a
So
fun
good.
movie.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
It was not groundbreaking by any means, nor was it like remotely historically accurate, which is why I think it got such negative. They're like, this isn't a real like World War II period piece, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, like,
Dude, he shot
it was.
arrows through people.
I mean, as far as a Guy Ritchie film too, like it was a little bit light on the dialogue, you know, which is
Oh,
what
I
his
suppose
films
that's
are
true.
known
I didn't think
for.
of that.
But I enjoy it. I like it.
I
I've
will
watched
watch
it a couple
anything from
times.
Guy Ritchie. I don't even care. Yeah, I've watched Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare numerous times, and I've loved
Oh, yeah.
every time. The scene where he's saying his only German sentence that he knows, which is "Good evening, my little butterflies."
Dude,
And he
I love
says it
when
in
they're on
German,
the
it's like
boat
Guten
in the very
Abend, mein
beginning.
Schmetterlinge, and they're like, what? So yeah, my tops anime since Solo Leveling was taken from me. I'm gonna give a shout out to Delicious in Dungeon. It's a
Solid.
neat premise, honestly, to like the adventuring trope in anime where they go through and like they don't have any money for food because they had to rebuy all their equipment, so they're just eating what they find in the dungeon. So very neat premise, like very cool. And of course, always pictures of anime food, which looks amazing. Like if I could transport myself into a genre just to eat, it would definitely be an anime, just so I could chow down on some of that
Absolutely.
great looking food. For
Absolutely.
movie, I gotta give it to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Solid choice.
Nothing
liked it.
groundbreaking in it, but I
Yeah.
had a blast the whole way. Plenty of
Oh, yeah.
laughs. Nice Pool was by far the best character. Well, no, that's not true. Dog Pool was pretty great.
Comic accurate Wolverine.
Comic accurate Wolverine was neat. Dogpool was just amazing. That is still the ugliest dog I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Also, special shout out to Channing Tatum for finally getting to play Gambit and playing one that actually sounded like I remember in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Also, special shout out to the comment about it being who was your acting coach? The Minions was probably one of the best lines of dialogue in that. So
That's a solid pick. I think that's great. What's funny is you said best lines of dialogue. I'm going to rewind just a little bit to Eric before we move on, because I think one of my favorite lines of dialogue from 2024 actually came out of Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and it's when Ian Fleming walks up and he goes, Ian Fleming, because it cracked me up so hard. I might have been the only one in the whole theater laughing my ass off, but I absolutely loved it.
his obsession with getting the coats off people was also pretty solid on all of those. I need that man's coat. So yeah, that was movies. Moving on to
All right, real quick. So Roman Crow said his flop was definitely Joker, and his top was the Delicious in Dungeon. And Michael mentions the Solo Leveling movie coming out.
Okay.
I'm excited for any Solo Leveling stuff coming out. The first one was so good. You've got
good.
me hyped for anything else coming out Solo Leveling. So
Yeah, I don't know how much y'all know
forward to
about
that.
the story of Solo Leveling, but it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah,
All right,
I've
so
unfortunately read a little.
given our time constraints, let's
You want to
go.
do TV?
I think we should probably skip TV unless you just
Yeah.
want to mention something
No.
on TV. Because what I was going to say is we can go around one more time and just talk about anything in the Nerdverse that we liked.
Okay,
I
yeah, that's
know,
solid.
James, go ahead with your comic flops and tops because I know you had a couple we were talking about earlier.
Well, I had a tops for comics. I didn't have any flops.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
didn't read
Okay.
enough.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and start because we got to get the flops out of the way. The Ultimate Black Panther I mentioned earlier when I was talking to you guys. That one was part of the Ultimate Universe, which has like largely been very popular, and it was like kind of disappointing. The new Iron Man run has been boring. That is all I can say about it, which is sad because Iron Man. It's like right now, it's hard to go wrong. You just have to just be a little bit interesting. You just write Robert Downey Jr. into the book, and you're fine.
Right.
What was the other one that I said?
You mentioned
the fall of the House of X, or I think is what it's called, but the fall of Krakoa for the X-Men and Marvel.
Yeah.
For me, that was like probably the biggest flop of the year. I just don't like how that ended. It didn't feel good.
Didn't tickle the itch,
And not like
so to speak.
not like in a oh, it wasn't a happy ending. Like I don't like. I like when things are bad. Like that's also entertaining, but it wasn't entertaining. It was just like, oh, everything's great. Just kidding. Fuck the X-Men. Like that's
JK.
that's how that felt to me.
The X-Men. Build them up and tear them down all in the same time.
I mean, that's what they do every. It's just like a little cycle for the X-Men, pretty much. I feel like, but
yeah,
this one
I feel like that's a
good.
pretty rotating story.
Yeah, this one.
But they get done dirty every time, though. Like they don't even get it a little nice. Like they get it like no spit, no nothing. Like every time.
What was
pretty violent? Like
flop there, Eric?
I didn't have a flop because I didn't spend enough time reading this year.
Top.
I had a top. Yeah.
Right.
I'm a big Transformer like junkie, so like it was Transformers Last Bot Standing. I only got the first one. The comic store here didn't get the other ones in that I could find, so I'm gonna have to order the other 3 to it. But it's like the last Transformer. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea. It's like a westerny type feel to it. I liked it. I thought it was something new with Transformers. They haven't done anything quite like that before, that I know of. So that was interesting to read. The last Transformer being who it was also very surprising. I would have never picked that one or guessed that.
Starscream.
No, he was an Autobot, but usually he seemed to not fare well throughout stories. But it was good to see, and it was good writing. And I read a lot of indie comics that were pretty good. So yeah, that's it. That's my only comic.
Yeah, my top comics I got my Marvel and my DC choices. I think there's like Marvel, like I mentioned, the Ultimate Universe, the Ultimate X-Men. I really enjoyed Ultimate Spider-Man. Both of those, like I don't know which one's better. They were both really good. Ultimate Spider-Man is written. This run is like Jonathan Hickman, I believe. So he's a pretty solid all the time. And Peach Momoko's writing the Ultimate X-Men, which I'm just like a fanboy of hers.
Absolutely.
And her art's great. It's nice to see it in a book instead of just on covers now too. DC, the Absolute books, like Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman, have all been really solid books. They're like a retelling of their origin stories. So you have Clark growing up a little bit on Krypton and then coming here, and he's like an alien now, like with alien morals and upbringings, trying to be like a good guy still. He's very anti tyranny. He's going around like helping people still, but he doesn't have any of the like I don't know, like I don't understand what family is kind of thing. Like I don't know, I'm killing people on accident or whatever. And he's got like a little AI suit. It's been a good read. The Batman one is also good. You have a much more big, beefy, brutal Batman with an axe, which is cool. And Absolute Wonder Woman actually
I dig it.
Probably my favorite because she's raised in hell. And yeah, let me just say, it makes it fun.
Whoa, who was raised in hell? I missed that. Sorry, I was responding on YouTube. Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. The Absolute Wonder Woman, I think, is my favorite out of those 3. I can see anybody picking either one of them, but Absolute Wonder Woman is my favorite for those. And then I do want to give to a non-Marvel DC. It goes to IDW for it's called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. It's an interesting crime story kind of thing. It's like Dexter-ish. There's a serial killer, and there's another serial killer that comes to town. But they're all like really cute anthropomorphic animals. And it's actually,
one last thing with comics. People should definitely check out Power Ranger comics. Yeah, they are definitely adulty. Like the storylines are pretty good.
Depending on the ones you get.
Yeah, like they usually kill. and stuff, even each other. So, like, definitely if you haven't, they did a lot with Power Rangers this year. I would give it a go. Like, I'm going to eventually, there's too much right now for me to really get too into it because I'm catching up on manga because I found a free website. God bless pirates. So,
Yo-ho.
yeah.
That was my rundown for comics, though, the ones that I enjoyed at least for
All right.
2024.
I think
Ryan,
that's
you
solid.
got any niche?
So as far as the miscellanea shoutouts kind of section to close us out here, I want to bring up Agatha All Along. I absolutely loved that show. I loved every episode. I was chomping at the bit every week to get to watch it. I've rewatched it now. It just gets better. Absolutely want to give a shout out to Agatha All Along because it's one of my favorite Marvel shows that has come out, just period. I put it up there with Loki. And so definitely wanted to shout out Agatha All Along.
Any flops in the genres that you'd like to mention?
You know, I've been
Out of all of them?
kind of parsing that. I know there's a lot of hate for like Acolyte. I loved Acolyte. I thought it was great. I enjoyed the story. It breaks my heart I'm not getting more.
Ooh, a reverse flop.
Yeah, and so I don't have a real flop. I mean, Penguin, I guess. I like it. It's fine, but I have a hard time keeping my attention on the show. But I've only watched the first episode, so I haven't given that one like a real shot yet.
I think that's probably one of the best shows of the year.
Yeah, the
Penguin?
first episode I had a hard time with. It's good. The visuals are amazing. The dialogue's amazing. The only complaint I have is that I have a hard time keeping my focus on it and keeping my attention in the show. I don't know that I have a big flop in the miscellaneous section. I also want to give out, this is kind of a random one. I'm going to go to Magic the Gathering. I know we've had an
Big
epic
flop.
amount
No.
of releases for Magic the Gathering, which in and of itself is kind of a big flop. We've had a lot of stuff released, but
Big
I
flop.
like
Hasbro.
it's just Hasbro in general. I liked Outlaws of Thunder Junction as a set. I think it was fantastic. I hope they do more Wild West style Magic stuff. Cowboys and Magic is one of my favorite things, so I got to give a
I'm gonna
shout
agree
out
with
to
you
that.
on that. The art on Thunder Junction is absolutely stellar. I guess I'll jump into mine for stuff that we haven't talked about, and I'm going to talk pro wrestling since I'm the only one here I think that watches it regularly at any point. I'm going to start off with my flops, and man, I'm going to have to just go in hard at probably one of my favorites, but King Ricochet, what are you doing, man? You're talking about a dude that's stellar in-ring performer, and he goes from company to company, like complains about how he's being used in WWE, immediately goes to AEW and loses to freaking everybody. And it's not even close. Like, he has these crazy cool stellar matches, and then in the end he loses. That's what you can count on with Ricochet, is that he's not going to win his match. So, like, why jump? Why switch companies if you weren't going to get a better shake? I still have to kind of shake my head at AEW with the way they're doing storylines and the use of talent, because they have a very talented roster, and I don't know what they're doing a lot of the time. They misused the House of Black. You don't see a whole lot of trios stuff happening anymore, and that was one of the things that fans were most excited about, was the trios tag team title belts. So yeah, it's not been great. Not a great run for Ricochet. AEW does have some positive things. Adam Cole is back performing in ring. I gotta love Adam Cole. I gotta give a shout out to MJF, who's still doing some of the best character work he's ever done. He was a little directionless for a while, but give that man a microphone and let him cook, and everything will be fine. As long as you're going for like a PG-13 rating, because he does get it's a little spicy when you don't rein him in. So tops, I got to give it to Cody Rhodes finally completing the story, getting that world championship title run that his dad never got. Is definitely magical to see. Like, it was a cool moment of 2024. His title reign has been hit or miss. Big top in pro wrestling is also Kevin Owens. They brought back the Winged Eagle belt. He stole it and is now just being an absolute hooligan. If you guys are a big fan of like the backstage promos and stuff that wrestlers do, check out what Kevin Owens has been doing. It is absolutely amazing. And then anything LA Knight's involved in. I'm still hyped on the LA Knight train, to the point that I ordered his special US title belt that's going to go in the display case with this bad boy. So yeah, those are definitely my big tops for pro wrestling. LA Knight, again, just being free on the mic is absolutely amazing. The dude can cut a promo like it's the late 90s. It's so amazing to watch, especially when he was ragging on Top Dollar. They said, who's better than Top Dollar? And he goes, a lot. So I knew Will Smith was in the rap game, but I didn't know Uncle Phil had a mic skill.
Nice.
Yeah, like just going in on those guys. So I think those are my tops for pro wrestling. The Netflix debut only had 4 matches, which was weird, and always a special shout out to Rhea Ripley. Everybody loves the muscle mommy.
Well, real quick
Absolutely.
with the Netflix thing, they did state it could be anywhere from 40 minutes to 3 hours. There's no set time for them.
No, it's
I
going to go
think
until
that's
done.
interesting and rather cool.
I think you're
Now-
going to start seeing them anywhere between 2 and 2.5 hours on average.
We do have a couple of things coming in on the YouTube side. Michael said he watched Transformers 1. Still not sure how he feels against the 1980s. It was a betrayal for new people next gen. What was happening there? I'm supposing not a fan. Roman Crow agrees with me. Gonna miss Darth Arms. Yeah, I was also a fan of Acolyte. And they also said the next 2 seasons we're going to focus on Plagueis, and now we won't get it. Which I agree. Roman Crow, absolutely heartbreaking. Now, there's a few. I mean, we had a lot of really, really good TV shows we didn't have time to cover in this one.
Hold
But
up.
I wanted to ask one question about the wrestling thing, real quick. In your opinion, top or flop, is the move to Netflix a good thing? Is it something you're excited about?
Oh, it's a good. It's definitely a good thing.
Okay.
I'll probably watch again now that it's on there and it's accessible.
The only flop, in my opinion, on the transfer is that they didn't bring the entire back catalog for Raw. There's plans to release it in stages, but right now it's select episodes, which is fine. But for those of you that just absolutely love everything about the Attitude Era, you're going to see about 20 episodes between 98 and 99. And then that's it. All of the 2000s are missing. It doesn't pick up again until like 2022. Bones,
Yep.
what do you got?
I got a shout out to one of the biggest flops of the year. Real quick, we were talking about Netflix and wrestling and sports. Made me remember. I almost forgot that it happened. It was such a big flop. But what about that boxing match? If you
Right.
can call it that.
Yeah, huge flop. The Jake Paul Tyson fight. That was
Yeah,
awful.
Oh my god.
The
I
best.
shouldn't
deleted that from
we
my
can't,
mind.
We can't
No,
talk
hold
about
on,
that
hold on.
though.
There
Okay.
was a top spot in that entire program, and that's when they cut to the locker room, and Mike Tyson was just walking around cheeks out. That was probably the funniest thing I've
The
ever
other-
seen in a lead up to a boxing fight. Was Mike Tyson giving people hugs, kissing them on the cheek, and just cheeks out, like just.
But yeah, very controversial fight, very divisive.
It's not even divisive. That was the most staged fight I've ever seen. Their undercard, their co-main event, was the best fight of the night by far, and Amanda Serrano was screwed. I'm gonna die on that hill. Taylor should have lost the belt to her that night, but she won because of champion's advantage.
She headbutted. Anyways, what do you got?
She didn't
What do you got,
headbutt. She
Bones?
leads with her head. It's
Jose,
different.
Eric, you still got your. I mean, you gave us your comic there. You got any other tops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm doing flops for everything, the flop for me is 40K bringing back the wrong big Primark.
Oh, you're gonna piss off a whole bunch of people
I
with that one.
completely disagree with that. That's some bullshit. There's already all kinds of the chaos around. We need some good guys. I don't know. Vulcan's just chilling. I'm a big salamander guy. We can fucking bring him back. Oh, I don't know what we're doing here, but that's a flop to me.
Welcome back, Fulgrim.
Yeah.
So just saying, Games Workshop, you fucked up. So that's my flop of the year.
I disagree. I'm kind of stoked Fulgrim's coming back.
I'm excited to see how mad Robo Girly Man gets at the dude that put him in stasis.
So
That's the only. That is seriously, canonically speaking, Fulgrim is the only person that can consistently make Gilliman lose his temper.
That's
Like
true.
that man is super calm and under control until he gets around Fulgrim, and then he just loses his absolute mind.
Vulcan should have came back. Anyway, so that's my flop, my big flop of 2024. A big win of 2024. I don't really know right now. It's so hard in the Nerdverse, especially. I'd probably have to go with the new D&D. It's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I gave it no possibility of being anything good. I thought it was going to be a ripoff. But it looks like they did some stuff with the magic system that looks pretty cool. So I'm probably going to give it a shot and actually switch all my stuff to D&D Beyond just to give it a go. It looks good. I'm so up to say they did some good things, and the fact that they're incorporating the current books with it on top of that, so that way you're not out a bunch of money is nice, and they didn't just make a whole new D1 or whatever the fuck they were calling it. So that's mine. Yeah, do better, Games Workshop. That's the end of this means. That's what that means. Do better.
Give me a Vulcan sculptor. Go away.
Yep. I mean, I'll take a Lehman Russ. I mean, just give me another good guy, man. Just bring back all the bad guys.
It's gonna be 2026 or later until you get a new
Yeah.
Loyalist Primarch. I hate to break it to
Guaranteed.
you, big guy. I hate to break it to you.
I know we're running short on time. It's hard for me to be angry at GW right now because the Imperial Guard new stuff is coming out very, very soon, and I'm super hyped about that. I main guard right now.
Ryan's excited for new tanks.
New tanks, baby. I'm so excited for new tanks. I do want to shout out for any of our listeners that are trying to find your next sections. Obviously, we had a lot of television and movies and a lot of amazing things that came out this year. I do have a few more recommendations I wanted to make sure got some airtime. Before I do that, if you've made it to this point in the video, guys, that means you like what you're watching. If you can give us a little bit of engagement, give us a like button, leave us a comment below with your tops and your flops of 2024. It means the world to us, keeps the lights on, and keeps us doing what we're doing.
Bones, did Bones have any more flops, though? Do you have anything outside of comics? Because I know you only did comics.
Yeah, I mean, I only did comics. Covered movies, covered a little bit of TV stuff, anime. And I think I don't think I have anything else that I was like super, super disappointed in.
No
All
big
right.
shockers out there for either side, huh?
No, I mean,
You
everything
like Fulgrim?
everything we talk, I mean, I don't like Fulgrim in general. I fucking hate him. He's worthless
Yeah.
to me. But I think it's all right. It's fine. I don't care. I just like to see what they do. And the model looks great.
Yeah, the new
model
sculpt
is
Okay.
top tier. It's so
I'm not
good.
disagreeing with how great the model looks. I just think it's fucking stupid. Give me a good guy.
I mean, I would like Corvus to come back in canon. I would just like more Corvus story, but that's just me. So
Yeah.
Everybody likes a good Shadow Crow. Speaking of Crow, that movie also did not do well.
yeah, that was a
yeah.
flop that we didn't mention. That it was like
rolling into flops.
Dude.
Yeah,
I didn't expect much, but it was even then disappointing.
Brandon Lee was the last good Crow.
So, ending on a
R.I.P.
top section here, I wanted to bring up a handful of TV shows for everybody to put on their list if you haven't watched them yet. That's going to be Arcane, for sure. Absolutely loved it. Fallout, we talked about it briefly. Didn't make anybody's top list, but I still think it was really,
show.
really good.
good show.
Legend of Vox Machina just hit, I think it was season 3, I believe. Was really, really good. Had a great time watching that. And one of the biggest shout outs I wanted to give, mostly for the fact that the nostalgia was there, but it was a really interesting story, was X-Men 97. I really, really enjoyed watching that one. And so,
A crossover, video games and TV. You can't leave out Secret Level.
a secret level, absolutely true.
I mean,
We're doing a whole shit. We're doing like a show thing on that, so don't worry.
yeah,
That'll get love because I got a lot I want to say
a
on
whole
that.
episode for Secret
there's a
Level.
couple, maybe a couple flops inside of that, but overall, I think it was pretty great.
Absolutely.
Pac-Man
Definitely a
was
net positive.
It
like
was
for
actually
sure,
a
net
really
positive.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man
But-
was hands down the best.
We're long on time, so we're gonna have to bring this one to a close, guys. So with
One
that,
thing. Absolute last. Has nothing to do with flops, pops, nothing. So everybody start paying attention. We're gonna definitely do a couple giveaways because we're getting a lot more people now on YouTube. So it makes a lot more sense to start doing some giveaways. We're either gonna improve the merch and do some of that, or I think I'm gonna get like some of the companies that we've talked to, like Survive or like Scented Realms. See if I might purchase some of their stuff and then do some giveaways with their stuff. I don't know. Throw something in the comments if someone's looking to get something.
And if you are still interested
mention.
in acquiring some OG Gen 1 Crossing the Nerdverse merch, all the links are in our link tree. Check it out. We got some good stuff.
with that, we will bring this episode to a close. We are crossing the Nerdverse. This has been Tops and Flops of 2024, and we will see you next week for another episode. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
We don't like you, Fulcrum.